Hey y'all, it's Kim. So I've got lefties losing it all queued up, but this girl, Taylor Lorenz, uh, is basically, featured on the lefties losing it. But it said this is Riley Gaines here. It says, who would disagree with the absurd assertion from Taylor Lorenz that Luigi Mangione is a morally good man? Brian Thompson's wife and kids. Now let's listen to her. I think since the beginning of this whole case with that Luigi dude shooting Brian Thompson, the CEO for what was it, United Healthcare, I think she was basically saying like almost like it was almost justified. But you've seen that all over social media. If you went on any social media outlet, there's going to be people saying it was good what he did. And I was just like, y'all are out of your mind. You don't go around killing people. You take it to the courts. That's what they're there for. But let's listen to her. I mean, she's just, this is like weird to me. I just don't know how you can glorify somebody being killed. But anyway,
hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who that are outside.
but you still don't go around killing people. You don't justify murder just because something doesn't go your way. You can't just use violence and choose violence. I mean, that's just not how life works. You have to work it out through the court system if you don't like the outcome of, say, uh, United Healthcare or not picking up your tab or whatever it is. I mean, I don't understand what she's trying to justify other than murder, but let's just keep going.
In New York.
So you're going to see women, especially, that feel like, oh my God, right? Like here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems like this morally good man, which is hard to find.
What?
Yeah.
Ew.
Like, women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we're at. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be compared to a Trump supporter. But some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione, strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
That's not how life works, though. You don't have to have somebody just come in, busting the doors, shooting people because they don't agree with something. That's just absurd. But let's see what Miss Rita's got to say about this. She's probably going to show this same clip, but I had to pull that up because I've only seen her maybe once or twice, but I was like, since that whole Luigi Mangione thing and Brian Thompson, let's actually focus more on him because he's the victim here. I mean, I've seen her once and she was glorifying it, almost like, oh, that it's a good thing what he did. Are you serious? You go to the court system if you don't like something. You don't just go shoot somebody in the back. I mean, whatever. Oh boy.
It's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start with some morally repugnant depravity on CNN. Here they interview Taylor Lorenz, a far-left hack journalist who's been employed by many of your favourite lefty outlets, from the Washington Post, the New York Times to Daily Beast. Listen here as Taylor waxes lyrical about cold-blooded murdering scumbag Luigi Mangione She can't understand why anyone would be shocked that sickos like her are standing a murderer. This is sick. Sociopathic.
Hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals. You're going to see women, especially, that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems like this morally good man, which is
hard to find. That kind of reminds me of what was her name? Jennifer Garner. She was like, is there anything more sexy than like a Democrat man? Woo! And it was just like she was talking about what's his name? Tim Walls. And I'm like, dude, he put tampons in kids' bathrooms, okay, and boys' bathrooms. Let's see. I just want to see if I find any of the TikTok. I just had to look it up. Oh, yes, I'll have to do that because I can't remember my stuff. Hold on. Sorry, I don't have my login for this. Okay. Confirm. Okay. Yeah, login. Let's just look at when you pull up the dude's name. Hold on. Get that out of here. Where's my, okay, there you go. Look him up. Let's see what these people have to say. Oh, book. Heart-shaped notes. What? Found in socks for Luigi. What? New pair of socks wrapped. Let's see. Oh Lord. Oh no. That's crazy. Look at this. Look at the comments. Okay, it says free that man. Team Luigi. This app could not be here next court date. Stay strong. You got this. Free man. Damn. Free Luigi. Lulu. Somebody's laughing here. Somebody, I guess that's a smiley face. A bunch of hearts. Yeah, fire. Okay. So let's see if we got another one. Let's see what this says. Heart-shaped notes found in socks for Luigi Mangione, court document says. I can't really see what that says. It says if he ran for president, he'd have a legit chance. An innocent man, not guilty. Who cares about notes or socks? It's not relevant. They obviously have the evidence to convict. Saint Luigi, really? He's a hero to a lot of people. He will never be found guilty. This guy united the left and the right like nothing I've seen before. So not guilty. Be real, America. Okay, that's kind of sick to me. I just don't understand. Let's see. Okay, this person says, how the F am I supposed to defend this MF? He is guilty.
What the hell I did? What the hell y'all? What the hell Barry? What the hell Burton?
Okay, it says just claim he wasn't in the right mind state and try to get a lower sentence. I hope this girl isn't his attorney. Defense isn't for the weak. Mock trial. Oh, Empire. Okay, so it's a mock trial. I don't need a lower sentence. I need a verdict of not guilty. Don't throw me under the bus yet. You at least gotta try. Procrastinate to the last minute. You work better under pressure. If someone asked me where I was 5 years or 5 days ago, I wouldn't remember anything from that day. Can't even remember what I ate 2 days ago. And those kinds of simulations stress me out. I can't imagine those who actually litigate. I keep discrediting prosecution and prosecution witness, etc. Guilty on law eyes. The same law that authorities, child marriage, and protected pedos, hard smiling or something. Girl, I would personally fund your vacation, first class, 5 stars, pina coladas on me. Just get that man out of there like it's an exorcism. What? That's pretty crazy to me that they're whatever. People are defending his actions just like this nut.
Hard to find.
She's talking there about a cowardly killer who shot father of two, Brian Thompson, in the back of
What happened?
the head. But because Brian was the CEO of United Healthcare, apparently that makes his murder okay or even joyful, as Taylor once claimed. Now, sane journalists on a sane network might challenge what we just heard, but not CNN, not this clown from CNN. Listen here as he likens admiring and murdering lowlife to being a Trump supporter, and even notes that Taylor would never want to be called a Trump supporter. That would be beyond the pale.
I'm sure you wouldn't like to be compared to a Trump supporter, but some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of the media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. You don't hate the leftist media enough. You think you do, but you don't. Sticking with CNN, they've been part of a media meltdown over the Trump administration's tariff policy, and many a Democrat has been on with softball interviews where they scaremonger about inflation without any pushback from the host. Here's Hakeem Jeffries.
Trump tariffs are going to raise costs on everyday Americans in an environment where there's already a high cost of living. Trump promised that he would lower costs, in fact, on day one, but what we've seen under his reckless leadership is that costs aren't going down in America. They're going up. Inflation is going up.
Inflation is going up, is it? The Democrats were even pushing a new term, Trumpflation. Here is Jeff Merkley.
So last Wednesday, it was not Liberation Day. It was Trumpflation.
So here's what I'm going to say on this. So the Biden administration caused worse than like 9% inflation the 4 years they were basically in office, that whole administration. Now Trump is trying to do something about it, and they're still going to try to blame him for inflation, which they caused, just like the border crisis, which they caused, having everything opened up. But now that Trump's trying to fix it, they're going to have somebody to try to blame for some of this stuff. It's the way I see how the Democrat Party tries to frame all this stuff. We were here the last 4 years and we saw exactly whose fault it was, but you're going to have the idiots out there that just hate Trump and they can't see anything but hating Trump. So, of course, they're going to listen to their congressmen and women when they say all this crap and try to blame Trump for a bunch of stuff. But it's like they did it. They caused it. Now he's got to come in and clean it up. And they're still going to try to blame him for it. It's the craziest thing. It's like the TDS, just people can't see anything other than, oh, I hate Trump, 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 Trump. But they have no message other than trying to blame him for something. And actually, I think they had to come back and say, like right away, that the inflation was down to one something percent. So it's so fake and just not even believable how much gaslighting and lies these people are able to spit out. But they're the ones that started it, that caused the problems. It's just so crazy to me. But anyway, it's so dumb. Trumpflation, my butt. It was Bidenflation with all the stuff, the COVID spending and every damn thing else they did. The regulations they put on stuff. Oh man. Whatever.
Day. The American consumer is going to be seeing much higher prices.
Trumpflation, you say? Literally minutes later, this news break.
Breaking moments ago, brand new numbers showing inflation fell last month. Much better than expected.
Inflation fell. Well, how about that, folks? You know, the only reason anyone not stuck in an airport watches CNN these days is to see Scott Jennings. Here he is with CNN host Abby Phillips.
7 million means that they're not just going after criminals.
Well, they're going after people who are in the country illegally, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the criminals. This is a much bigger universe.
Doesn't that make you a criminal?
No, it doesn't.
They come across the border illegally?
Coming into the country illegally is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense.
Okay, if you come into the country illegally, here's the message. We're going to find you and send you back.
Oh, Abby, coming across the border illegally is a criminal offence. Let's have a look at Scott Jennings now, effortlessly toying with Anna Navarro. Talk about an intellectual mismatch.
Honestly, if it was Kamala Harris behaving this way, they'd call her hormonal and hysterical, right? Look,
we'd have to get elected to be.
But well, yes, and if she had been elected, and if Hillary Clinton had been elected, if any woman had been elected and been acting this way, they'd say it was menopause.
She would have never stood up to China.
Well, these people on the view are pretty crazy.
Issue, right?
And let's check in with one of Anna's co-hosts on The View. Here's Whoopi Goldberg. She seems to think that the Trump administration, you know, the one that won in a landslide, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote, winning the electoral college 312 to 226, apparently, according to Whoopi, they only represent a very narrow band of people.
All you countries who watch us, this is not our wish.
No, it's not.
This is not what we don't like it. We don't like how it's being we don't like how this is being done. That's why you will hear us kvetching about this as long as we are able, because no one we're talking to understands what's going on. And therefore, when they say America, they're not talking about us. They are talking about that very narrow band of America that they think they represent.
Back to CNN. This is how you handle an interview with CNN, especially if they start quoting another fake news outlet like the Washington Post. Let's hear from Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
Last month, the Washington Post reported that the freeze on U.S. foreign assistance in Africa has, quote, threatened programs intended to counter al-Shabaab bomb makers. Are those cuts still in place? Are you concerned about them at all?
Is that the same Washington Post that propagated the Russia collusion hoax for the last 8 years?
Well, regardless of the Russia...
No, not regardless. You're quoting the Washington Post to me, which is as effective as posting for me or quoting to me any other pillar of the fake news industrial complex. I really couldn't care less what the Washington Post or the New York Times says, especially when it's anonymous government officials. If it's true, put your name to it. If it's not, shut up.
There you go. And here is how Donald Trump handled the media overnight. Firstly, reminded them that his predecessor never did impromptu press conferences.
People requested. I'm always available, unlike Biden. Think Biden would do an interview at 2 in the morning? He would do one at 9 in the morning.
And he then got his granddaughter, Kai, involved, first introducing her to the members of the fake news media. I've got to say, he really is the funniest president we've ever had.
Kai, come on over. You know the fake news? This is the fake news.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you guys? Good morning.
Good morning. But you want to partake?
I'll ask them so.
She's a great athlete, actually, great golfer.
Yeah.
And a great student.
Question. On Monday, you're having a meeting with the president of El Salvador.
Now, Donald Trump was at the UFC over the weekend and he walked out to a thunderous response from the Miami crowd, flanked by two of his grandchildren.
And making the entrance right now. The 47th president of the United States of America, like my Gretch CEO, Trump. Is there anybody else that has a vaccine to the fight here? Some music and rock stars playing? That's the blizzard with you.
Trump not only got a rock star entrance, but he had sporting stars flocking to shake his hand, including UFC champ Dominic Reyes, moments after his big win. Even Shaq, the great Shaquille O'Neal, made his way through the crowd to greet the president. Let's bring in comedian and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex, can you remember seeing anything like this? A politician that is reviled by the media but loved by sporting crowds, whether it's at the football, the NASCARs or the UFC.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump is the ultimate celebrity, and when you see him walk into that stadium and the place just goes nuts, you know, it makes you feel warm inside as an American citizen having a president that is not only all the way there, mentally, but he's all the way there when it comes to the support of the country. And you know what I love the most about this, Rita, is I saw Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy who had complained all week about a stock portfolio going down, posting a video of him being a huge fangirl for President Trump. So he has that effect on people. Somebody can lose $7 million in 1 week, and then when you see him, your tune changes, and all of a sudden you love the guy again.
Well, there was an awkward moment, we just saw it before, where Trump seemed to ignore actress Cheryl Hines, the wife of RFK Jr. There was plenty of media coverage of this moment, but that's not the full story, Alex. President Trump did go back and he had a chat with Cheryl. He's not snubbing her as many have claimed.
Well, Rita, it's obvious that Trump did this on purpose. When you look at Cheryl Hines, considering that she was Larry David's co-star on a show that's all about being awkward, Donald Trump did this on purpose. This awkward moment went super viral, and this was not an accident. So, be careful what you think about Donald Trump. This is the best marketing tool possible for Donald Trump.
Well, and I think her family was giving her a hard time because RFK, decided to start working with Trump on this whole Health and Human Services. Isn't that who he is? Whatever. The Make America Healthy thing. Anyway, whatever his role is in that. I don't even know. Maybe it is the HHS. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know who's who and all this cabinet stuff. But her family was giving her a hard time because RFK decided to work with Donald Trump, who's considered a Republican, even though it's more like he's probably more kind of like centrist, moderate, whatever you want to call it, because there's certain things that he's not like fully conservative on. But anyway, whatever. So I wouldn't necessarily give her the time of day either. But I don't know. Whatever you want to say about it. I probably wouldn't have shaken her hand, but he's got to do whatever he's got to do. So whatever.
That snub is a snub heard around the world, Rita. It was great.
No, you were just not looking at her when she had her hand outstretched. I'm sure there was a very innocent. He's got no problem with Cheryl Hines. She's actually been incredibly brave in standing up to the Hollywood bullies, because they did come for her when RFK Jr. first announced that he was going to be part of the Trump camp. Now let's talk about more serious stuff. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, is in the US. El Salvador is housing in its mega prisons a number of gangbangers in the US illegally. Tell me about the relationship he has with the Trump administration.
Well, the president of El Salvador is similar to Donald Trump in that he's no nonsense and he wants to get rid of all the gangbangers, not only in his country, but here in America. He wants to kind of be like a private prison, third-party system where we can put a lot of these Trinidad Rugas or MS-13 gangbangers. We can just send them down to El Salvador and we can pay them to house them. So, I love the idea of outsourcing our prisons to El Salvador. So this meeting, it could spell trouble for the cartels and the organized crime that is, causing a lot of problems here in America.
I got to tell you, this guy is one of the most popular leaders anywhere in the world. He was re-elected with such an enormous margin, and he has turned El Salvador from one of the most crime-riddled hellholes anywhere in the world to a safe country, and he's done it in with such speed. It really is a remarkable feat, but the media hates him too, so he never gets any credit for any of that. Also in the White House in recent days, Alex, has been the governor of Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She's got ambitions of being the 2028 Democrat presidential candidate. But tell me about this performance here, Alex, trying to hide her face during a meeting with President Donald Trump in the Oval Office.
Yeah, that's so pathetic. She's just worried about the bullies in her own party. Let's go to X and see what people are saying about this. I just want to see. Give me a minute. Big Gretch. Gretchen Whitmer. Let's see what people are saying about it. Yes, this guy, Gunther Eagleman, says, "Thank you, Gretchen Whitmer, for hiding your face and showing the world just how effing immature you are." Yeah. And like somebody else said, who else would wear this ugly suit? This says Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat, caught hiding her face from cameras in the Oval Office while Trump signed executive orders. Really, what is she afraid of? What is she really afraid of? It says Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan found herself in the Oval Office this week, not for one-on-one meeting with President Trump, but an appearance before the press corps. She temporarily shielded herself from the cameras. And this is Eric Lee of the New York Times. Don't say my name, don't say my name. Gretchen Whitmer trying to hide from the cameras. Didn't work. Well, he even called her out during the meeting because they were talking about the little fish, whatever, or the something gar fish or carp. Some fish, maybe it was a carp of some sort, Asian carp, that was like eating like other fish. I guess it was taking over that Michigan lake or Lake Michigan, whatever. It says, "Thank you so much, Gretchen Whitmer, for hiding your face and showing the world just how effing immature you are." Oh, guess, yeah. Yeah. Gretchen Whitmer hides her face rather than be seen in the president's office. Yeah, I mean, she's what, probably 50 something? And she's acting like this big Gretch action figure, Doritos, kidnapping for dummies, and then whatever this bag is. It says Gretchen Whitmer action figure, complete with face hiding action. Oh, with this, whatever, she's trying to hide it. Oh my goodness. It says breaking Governor Gretchen Whitmer expecting to slip under the radar for a private meeting with Trump. She attempted to hide her face from the media. It is pretty pathetic. I don't know. Gretchen Whitmer covered her face because this chick said she'd kick her ass if she didn't. Just saying. No, I don't know who this girl is. They are, looks like social distancing here. Was she the one that wouldn't let her people buy seeds and had them locked in the house and all that stuff during COVID? It says new Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer covers her face with the folder in bizarre attempt to go unnoticed by press while in Oval Office. Can Democrats go out in public without humiliating themselves with a weird stunt? Yeah, I mean, it says Whitmer trying to go unnoticed at Trump's White House does the exact opposite. I mean, she made a fool of herself. Not only is she a grown woman, but a governor trying to hide her face from cameras at the White House. How embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, she's old. She's too old for that. But that just goes to show you if you don't toe the line, the Democrats will get on you. And I'm sure she's worried about what it's going to look like for her 2028 run. But I mean, it's just so stupid.
Oh, Governor Whitmer is the biggest embarrassment when it comes to not just only her state, but when Michigan was locked down, her husband got caught taking their boat down to the boat dock when everybody else was shut down.
Hypocrite.
When it comes to Whitmer, like, she did that weird, publicity stunt where she fed the girl the milk and the Doritos chips. So she's not one to shy away from having her face in front of a camera. So for her to do this, it's just another political stunt, an embarrassment. And it shows you a politician that doesn't want to try to reach across the aisle to try to get things done for her constituents. Instead, she hides her face because she's ashamed and she's a coward of who she really is.
Well, I remember back in the height of the COVID era, Governor Whitmer, whilst Florida was completely open and free, Texas, where you are, was open and free, she was locking down seeds. She didn't want anyone to be planting seeds in their garden to grow vegetables, like just some really bizarre COVID restrictions coming from that governor. Now, let's talk about Doge. There's another expose by the Department of Government Efficiency. Let's see how many social security numbers have been issued to illegal immigrants.
The Immigration Department mailed them a social security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, Doge says 270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023.
See, as they got closer to the 2024 election, more of them went out so they could get them people on the voter rolls. What do you want to bet? Oh, these people
right
are horrible.
before Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid.
2.1 million just in 2024. Those numbers are astounding, Alex.
Well, people want to say it's conspiracy, but it's obvious that they wanted to try to import as many people as possible so that they could influence future elections. And by giving that many Social Security numbers, making it accessible to vote for these illegal immigrants, I just think that that's obviously what they were doing. So I'm happy that now is going to stop. And they used to go back to the good old days when it was 90 Day Fiancé. You had to marry an ugly person to come to America. You didn't just get a free green card and access to vote future elections.
Well, yeah, we'll go back to those heady days. Before you go, I'm really shocked that this story has got barely any coverage. This is a remarkable story. We've got an American, a Russian American, a beautiful ballerina freed in a prisoner exchange. And yet, barely any coverage, perhaps because when she was freed, she made the point of thanking Donald Trump.
What's your message to the president?
Mr. Trump, I'm so grateful for you to bring me home and for American government. And I never felt more blessed to be American, and I'm so happy to get home. Thank you.
Alex, she was sentenced to 12 years in a Russian prison after pleading guilty to treason, all for donating just around $50 to a Ukrainian charity in early 2024. This is a feel-good story. How is this story not being or getting saturation coverage?
Well, it's doing a Trump.
Well, Rita, I'm surprised it's not, because I've been very critical of the Ukrainian war, but I'll be honest, Vladimir Putin throws journalists off buildings. Russia is not innocent when it comes to this horrible conflict that's happening. So Russia needs to step up and end this war, and so does the Ukrainians and Vladimir Zelensky. And I'm happy that she's free. For $50 to the Ukraine to be jailed for 12 years, absolutely.
Shocking. Alex Stein, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Rita.
Yeah, that's. I like this guy too, but that's not.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, it was really only a matter of time now, wasn't it?
Ugh. For some reason, it's just not stopping. Anyway, that's what I got.
It's time for Lefties losing it. Let's start with some morally repugnant depravity on CNN. Here they interview Taylor Lorenz, a far-left hack journalist who's been employed by many of your favourite lefty outlets, from the Washington Post, the New York Times to Daily Beast. Listen.
Okay, sorry, it kept going. Anyway, so I wanted to share Lefty's losing it, but I'll try to get the JFK files, page 11, loaded up soon. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.